Please join me in prayer. Gracious and loving God, help us this day to understand and celebrate your dream for the world, to be transformed in Jesus' love, and to use our gifts to make a difference for others. Amen. Please be seated. Jesus' ministry with his followers in John's Gospel begins with two questions and an invitation. Jesus, what are you looking for? Disciples, where are you staying? Jesus, come and see. Two questions and an invitation. Canon Whitney from our own diocese has an exercise called Questions of Jesus, where she gathers all the questions Jesus asked and invites people to reflect on which ones touch their lives and how they might answer those questions. Asking good questions leads to better answers. But maybe even more importantly, asking good questions of one another and of God invites us into relationship. It's important to remember that the first task of the disciple in John's Gospel is relationship, to stay close to Jesus. You may have seen pictures of the Last Supper, or there's a little model of the Last Supper over here, and you may not have noticed in that picture or in that model, one of the disciples is leaning over toward Jesus. And this comes from a line in the Gospel where it talks about the disciple whom Jesus loved leaning against Jesus' chest. Most people think that disciple was John, who wrote this Gospel. John Philip Newell, who teaches about Celtic spirituality, said that in that tradition, that passage is referred to as listening to the heartbeat of God. Come and see is the invitation to stay close to Jesus and learn to see in a new way, to follow him around and see what it means to be God's presence enfleshed in the everyday world, and then the invitation to be that kind of presence for others. Come and see, listen to the heartbeat of God. If you read the Gospel of John, you will soon come to see that the heartbeat of God is love. And the rhythm of the heartbeat is love's children: compassion, respect, forgiveness, sacrifice. If you stay close to the heartbeat of God, then these things will be the outcome. There's no definitive guide about what it means to be loving in every situation, but there is the ability to continue to ask what Rosemary Tromer calls the question. She writes, "All day I replay these words. Is this the path of love? I think of them as I rise, as I wake my children, as I wash dishes, as I drive too close behind the slow blue Subaru. Is this the path of love? Think of these words as I stand in line at the grocery store. Think of them as I sit on the couch with my daughter. Amazing how quickly 6 words become compass, the new lens through which to see myself in the world." I notice what the question is not. Not, is this right? Not, is this wrong? It just longs to know how the action of existence links us to the path of love. And is it this? Is it this? All day I let myself be led by the question. All day I let myself be not too certain of the answer. Is it this? I argue with my son. Is it this? I ask as I wait for the next word to come. It feels to me like on this weekend when we celebrate Martin Luther King Jr., that this question was at his heart as well. At the heart of his way of resisting injustice. It's what guided him in his commitment to non-violence. There were others in that time who chose violence or anger or dehumanizing the other. Martin could hear the heartbeat and refused to be drawn into othering or to hate. Another friend of mine is wrestling with this question. His name is Wint Boyd. He lives in a mixed neighborhood in South Minneapolis. He sent out a letter this week about the chaos of the past week in Minneapolis. He tells the story of a thing that happened in his own neighborhood. Yesterday morning, amidst the several Signal chat groups to report ICE activity in our South Minneapolis neighborhood, someone reported an unoccupied van running for almost 30 minutes at the entrance to their alley. Does anyone know anything about this vehicle? It asked. 5 minutes later, another note came. All clear. Mom came out. Toddler needed to dress up like Spider-Man, so they were delayed. After sharing that story later in the day with a small group of dear ones from around the globe, someone asked my friend how he was dealing with being in the midst of that chaos. They asked, "What's your Spider-Man superpower today?" In reflecting on his experience at a vigil for Renee Good, the woman killed earlier this week, he says, "Our collective superpowers are reflected in so many of the signs at the spot of Renee's death. It's love." Of course, we're not in Minneapolis, but the question for us in St. Charles is the same in all we do. Is this the path of love? Because that's our superpower. Are we staying close to the heartbeat of God? As a parish that's getting ready to begin a new chapter in this neighborhood, what puts us on the path of love? I wonder if people are ready to boldly ask that question. Not that there's a single answer to the question, but it's an invitation to ask the question together, to walk together as a questioning community, asking the love question at every turn. St. Benedict once called Christianity a school for love. I don't think he imagined kind of a crusty theology professor lecturing eager students sitting in rows. Instead, this school is a community facing challenges for everyday life in a particular time and place. It is a school that takes as its curriculum the ins and outs of family life and life with friends and life in a particular city or nation, and engaging those circumstances with the question, is this the path of love? This school takes field trips to places where violence holds sway or where the wounded and the poor and the lonely live to better learn how to love. This school, this community is one where life's hard questions are asked in the presence of the heartbeat of God. And invitations are offered to come and see how God might show up in the midst of life. I wonder in what ways Trinity is invited to be a school for love. Jesus asked those first disciples what they were looking for. They didn't know. They were just at the beginning of their journey. Here at the beginning of their journey, though, they take the risk to ask the question. They take the risk to come and see, to lean in closely to Jesus, to hear the heartbeat of God, the heartbeat of love. That invitation is the same for us.